Yes. Yes. If we could keep the aisles clear as students enter in, that'd be great. Give them free passage. Thank you. Let's get seated, folks.
We'll get started in one moment. Hopefully we can do this together as a community. Thank you for being here. This is our Memorial Day ceremony, and I want to thank Mr. Allen and our friends at Post 40, Newton citizens, for helping us to put this event together. Students, I would love, for those of you who have a family member or someone close to you who has served in the military, if you could please stand. Thank you. And I think that's just an important thing to remember, is that so many of us have a connection to someone who has served in the military, whether it's a close family member, whether it's a distant relative. Knowing that my grandfather was a bomber in World War II, which felt very distant to me. But then some of my closest friends, I just had one of my best friends just retired as a colonel in the Air Force, managing all of the planes that transport the President of the United States, Vice President of the United States. And it's something that I saw in connection to all of the people that I know in my family is the commitment to service to others beyond yourself, and to expect the very best of yourself. And I got to meet, when my friend retired, I got to meet a woman who was serving as a weight and support staff on the plane for Air Force One. And this person was an enlisted Air Force cadet, and she had the highest expectations of herself and how she carried out her work. And it just symbolized to me that everyone, from the highest in command to the person who is serving food to the President of the United States, expects the very best of themselves. And that's just something for us all to think about when we think about our family and our friends who are serving. I know this is they're going to be recognized a couple of times today, but we have a really impressive group of students who are going on to academies and to enlist, and we have a scholarship winner as well, a very prestigious scholarship. So I would like our graduating seniors who are entering the military to please stand so we can acknowledge them and give them a round of applause. This is a very special group, knowing them each and every one of them, that they are very committed, and you are going to be excellent in your work. Today we are honoring Memorial Day, and Memorial Day is on the final month of the day when we honor the fallen fighters who gave their lives while serving our nation's armed services. And the holiday is referred to as Memorial Day. But how did this solemn day of remembrance come to exist, and what's the history behind it? So I want to share just a few things about Memorial Day that I want to thank Mr. Paul Pascarosa for giving us this information. The custom of decorating soldiers' graves with flowers goes back a long time, probably over 1,000 years. Ancient Romans were decorating graves of their deceased loved ones. But in the United States, Memorial Day traces back to the Civil War, originally called Decoration Day. It was widely publicized in Charleston, South Carolina in 1865, when Union soldiers had been held prisoners at a race course, and more than 250 of them had died while in captivity there. Those who lost their lives were quickly buried in unmarked graves. After the war, a group of teachers, ministers, freed slaves, and abolitionists gathered to honor these Union troops who lost their lives to the cause of ending slavery. The burial ground was cleaned and landscaped, and a commemorative arch was constructed. More than 10,000 people came from far and wide. But we also know this country, and those who expected the very best of themselves above and to go beyond themselves for this country. And so I want to thank those of you who have served. I want to thank all of you for joining us, and I'm so proud of our students who are making that choice to go into service. And I'm really proud of you personally. So thank you very much, and I want to pass over the ceremony to Pastor.
Good afternoon. Sergeant at Arms, would you please escort the honor guard to the center?
Honor guard, present the colors. Stand by. Forward, march. Your left, right. Your left, right on left. Your left, right. Your left, right on left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your left, right on left. Your left, right on left. Your left, right. Your left, right on left. Your left, right on left. Detail. Mark time. March. Detail. Halt. Front face.
All rise, please. I'd like to invite Senior Vice Commander Dave Snyder to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. And Director Todd Young of the Newton High School Choir is going to lead the choir in our national anthem and America the Beautiful.
Detail. Present. Arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the
Todd Young and the Newton High School Choir. Thank you. Sergeant at Arms, dismiss the colors.
Honor guard, dismiss! Detail, right, face! Forward, march! Left, right, your left, right, your left, right on left, your left, right, your left, right, your left, right on left,
Ladies and gentlemen, the
your left,
Newton
right,
Fire and Police Honor Guard.
right on.
Please be seated. I'd like to invite Mr. Larry Allen to the stage, please. Sergeant Allen, where is he? Thank you, Cal. Larry, to the right, please. You all know this guy. He's a fixture here at North and the Great American. Got a little citation I want to read to him. On behalf of the Sons of the American Legion, we would like to thank you for your service to our country during the Vietnam era. At that time you served, America was in turmoil. Our citizens were not kind to our returning Vietnam veterans. Many were ridiculed and scorned for being loyal to the Commander-in-Chief while honoring their oath of office. Their families as well endured great hardship and ridicule through no fault of their own. Today there is greater reverence for our military and men like you. Men and women like you and great veterans have sustained our way of life, and we are forever grateful. It is now our great honor to present you with this thank you Vietnam era commemorative coin. Squadron 440, the Sons of the American Legion, the auxiliary, will always stand with you, beside you, and have your six. Well done, and welcome home. Thank you, Larry. I know that Principal Turner recognized those men and women who are not going on to college or a technical school, but are joining or affiliating themselves with our armed forces, and I'd like to bring them to the stage right now, starting with Connor Kiley, United States Marine Corps. Mike Grogan, United States Marine Corps. Jack Mantell, attending West Point. Russell Backwood, United States Navy. Shannon McCarthy, Mass Maritime. These young men and this young lady, are the future of our armed forces, ladies and gentlemen. We owe them a preliminary debt of gratitude for what they're endeavoring to do and the centuries they will stand in our protection. While you're up here, I'd like to introduce Petty Officer Brian Tremelli for a brief presentation. Brian? Thank you, Brian. You guys are dismissed. Thank you very much. We'll see you in about a month. Most people in our society are sheep. They are kind, gentle, productive creatures who can only hurt one another by accident. Then there are wolves who have tremendous capacity for mayhem and violence, and they prey, stalk, and feed on the sheep without mercy. But then there is the sheepdog. The sheepdog lives to protect the flock and confront the wolf. He knows no fear, stands constantly at the ready, and will do anything to protect the sheep. The sheep generally don't like the sheepdog. He looks a lot like the wolf. He has fangs and the capacity for violence, just like the wolf. The difference is the sheepdog has such a deep love for the sheep that he cannot and will not ever harm the sheep, and he is willing to put himself in harm's way to protect them. Still, the sheepdog disturbs the sheep. He is a constant reminder that there are wolves and violence in the land. They would prefer that he didn't need to make his presence known, and his constant vigilance and focus is unnerving for the sheep, up and until the wolves begin to stalk them. Then the sheep flock to the side of the sheepdog, recognizing that his training and courage are the only thing that stand between life and certain death. In quiet times, the sheep want nothing to do with the sheepdog. Shunned at times, the sheepdog is not deterred. The ambivalence of the sheep does not discourage or affect the sheepdog. He knows his job and is willing to do it without thanks or gratitude. It is what he is destined to do. Ladies and gentlemen, that sheepdog is the armed forces of the United States. Many of them we memorialize this weekend who did not make it home. They made the ultimate sacrifice. And you can, on Main Street, right outside the cafeteria, we have a display of all the Newton killed in action veterans from World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. And I'm willing to bet that you will recognize some names on those placards. They are the ultimate sheepdogs. They gave their life so that you and I can sit freely in this auditorium tonight. So I want you all to think about that. So now, I would like to just have a moment of silence for all those that have lost their life in service to America. I would like to invite Auxiliary Chaplain Ginny Gardner to the stage to read about the significance, Sergeant Arms, significance of the missing man table. Thank you.
The Missing Man Table, also known as White Table, Fallen Comrade Table. The small white table is set for one, symbolizing the isolation of the absent service member. The white tablecloth to symbolize the pure intention of the service members who responded to the country's call to arms. The single rose in the vase symbolizes the blood that the service members have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of all of us and to the United States of America. The red ribbon represents the love of country that inspired the service members to serve the country, and family and friends awaiting the return of their service member. A slice of lemon. The slice of lemon represents the bitter fate of the missing. Salt. Salt represents the tears shed by the waiting family and friends. The inverted glass represents the fact that the missing and fallen will never lift a glass and partake. The Bible. The Bible represents the spiritual strength and faith to sustain the loss. The lit candle symbolizes the light of hope that lives in the hearts to illuminate the missing's way home. The empty chair represents the absence of the missing and fallen.
You've probably recognized a very distinguished panel on the stage here this afternoon. Each of them are going to share briefly what their service to our country has meant to them and what this weekend signifies. Our first up is Specialist 4th Class Michael Mazzola, United States Army veteran of Vietnam era, 3rd Armored Division, missile equipment technician, stationed in Fort Bliss for 1 year in Texas and 3 years standby till the end of the Vietnam War. And Michael is a staple in our community in so many areas. He continues to serve our community, our state, and our nation with contributions in all across the spectrum. So, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Mazzoli.
I hope I don't need a microphone, but I'll have it just in case. 53 years ago, I graduated from this school right here, Newton Technical High School. 53 years ago, after that, I went into service. I could not wait to go into service. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. Your careers start very soon, wherever you go. Service, college, work, you're all going to end up doing it. I was in the military as a heavy equipment operator, which was vehicles. But when I got in, and some of you could remember, they put me in a Nike missile site. I learned how to drive a truck with a $500,000 missile behind it. I did my training at Fort Dix. I went to Fort Belvoir, Virginia. Then I went to Fort Bliss, Texas. And from there, they wanted to know where you wanted to go. I said, hey, everybody wanted to go to Hawaii. Yeah, all right. Well, I had missile hearing loss when I was in the missile unit. And it kept me out of Vietnam. But out in the hallway, you'll see 24 names. Vietnam veterans that never made it back. We played with them. We went to school with them. And a lot of you should know, they're your grandparents or aunts, uncles, whoever. And I would go back tomorrow. I absolutely would. I would go back. My distinguished colleagues behind me, they will tell you what your future will probably be and should be. So I'm going to make it short and sweet. I made it home. I had a family. One of whom was right here. My daughter Amanda, one of your faculty members. It's always great to come back here. I was looking for the tunnels out there in the hallway, but I guess there are no tunnels anymore. They were all filled in, but God bless Newton North High School. God bless Newton. God bless America. Thank you.
In case it's not obvious, Michael is the Sergeant of Arms at the Sons of the American Legion. He never does need a microphone. Next up, our Junior Vice Commander at the Sons of the American Legion, Kevin McNamara, was drafted in 1968, did basic training at Fort Wayne, went on to become a teletype technician, deployed to Vietnam in the summer of '69, became part of the 25th Vietnamese Infantry Division. He was able to return home in the summer of 1970, a week early and unannounced, and when he walked in, his mother fainted. Kevin McNamara.
Mix up there. Is this on? Can you hear it? No. Now? No? Okay. See the American flag, folks? We just put about 200 of these flags on the bridges from Needham all the way to Boston. When I was in the service, I was one of you guys, just before I was drafted, in '68. I used to sit in the classes and then come to these events when the military would speak. And I used to, look around, think of ladies, and think about Friday nights in my rock and roll band. I didn't think about the military. They were World War II then. I didn't think much about the flag, because it was blue, white, and red. And I used to see it when I was in Vietnam. I was in an infantry unit that was a Vietnamese infantry unit. And every once in a while, we had to put this flag back up, because it was shut up. And I remember those moments when we had to do it, and you used to think, am I going to make it back to do it again? Because that was what happened. But the military at the time didn't mean much to me other than I had long hair, I was in a rock and roll band, and I was raised from West Newton. And I didn't consider myself in the military until I started listening to some of the sergeants, and it didn't resonate with me until I was beside an orphanage over in Vietnam. And these children didn't have parents. And I used to think, this is serious, very serious. And I think I grew up a little bit, and I came home, and I realized I was a different person. The military opened my eyes to a lot of things. One thing was I still liked rock and roll, and I still liked Newton North, and I still wanted to have a family, and teach my children to love this country, and love this American flag, and be part of the fabric, what makes this country work. Don't sit back and let things happen because they're happening very fast. If you don't get involved, you've got nobody to look at but yourself in the mirror. My issue right now is I've used the VA to become, to get a college education. If you're thinking about spending a lot of money to go to college, and you're not going to come out and just go to graduate school, whatever, think about the military. 2 or 3 years, 4 years in the military. It can round you, it can set you up, and then you can go on to your college, and you can get a free education. You can get veterans benefits as well. I wasn't rah-rah for the military when I was in high school, but I see what it did for me when I was in Newton North High School, looking back. And like Mike and the folks that are up there, they had to make that one step forward. If you're just wondering, give it a thought, because you're going to see things you never would see in your life. You'll experience issues that you'll never, ever wonder, how can I be in this situation? And you come back, and if you do get yourself a family or a partner, or whatever it makes a difference in your life. So, again, I'm probably rolling on here, but I always think of myself, never live in your memories. Keep making them, because life is very short, and when you're in the service, it can be very short. But if you come home, you can always make those memories, and maybe think of a career in the military. Thank you.
Our next speaker is about your age, actually. Brendan J. Carn is the first lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. He's a native of Wellesley, Massachusetts. He attended Villanova University, where he participated in the Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps. In 2019, he received a commission as second lieutenant after earning a Bachelor's of Arts with a major in political science. Second Lieutenant Carn has led his platoon through multinational and bilateral exercises in Guam and several host nations based across Japan, Korea, the Philippines, and Australia. First Lieutenant Carn currently serves as the Marine Officer Instructor of Boston University and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, First Lieutenant Brendan Carn.
Good afternoon. A little nostalgic being here. I'll concede this fact. Last time I was at Newton North. I think it was a soccer game. We won, for the record, it's Wellesley High, but neither here nor there. It's great to be back. It's really nostalgic and sentimental to be here. Honestly, I graduated Wellesley High in 2015, so standing here, it doesn't feel that long ago. But I guess the past 8 years since then has been quite a journey for me. Being a Wellesley High School graduate, I was probably one of 3 guys in my class that ended up going to the military. I didn't quite know what I wanted to do my entire time in high school, so it wasn't until my senior year where I felt a pit in my stomach, a little bit of a fire inside me. I was an athlete. I played 2 sports. I competed here in swimming and soccer, and I liked the leadership role that I had as a senior on those teams. I particularly remember being a freshman on some of the sports teams in Wellesley, and I always remember the seniors on the team that would pass the ball to me or acknowledge me in practice. And to me, that was a small nugget of leadership that I remembered really well. By the time I became a senior, I remembered that it's really important to remember where you came from and keep in touch with the folks who are, you know, younger than you and actually mentor and guide them. Which leads me to my first point. There is no greater opportunity, generally, than public service, and particularly the military, where you can become a leader at a very young age. A lot of my peers from Wellesley High School and Villanova are exceptionally smart and gifted, and they went on to do fantastic jobs that are very versatile. However, every time I come home and I speak with them, the one thing I can share with them that they're maybe not quite, you know, exposed to yet is leadership at a young age in managing people and mentoring people. And a lot of that comes from the lessons I learned coming up in the military, being broken down and built back up. To me, this country's been really good to me. Both of my parents are wonderful people. I have 5 siblings. I loved my childhood, and I loved growing up in a safe place. And now that I can stand here and look back at some years of public service, I'm extremely fortunate that I was able to give back a little bit to the country. And so I think that encompassed one big reason why I've really loved my service so far in the military. A couple of quick points I want to make, and I can discuss details with you after if any of you are interested in ROTC. I'll be here in Boston. I'm at all the, representing all the colleges in the city, so we can discuss details afterwards, but I wanted to leave you with a few things. Coming out of a school like Newton North, you know a lot more than you think. You're being exposed to an incredible administration here at the school, and a lot of bright and capable students in this environment. If you decide to go into public service, or any decision you make, just understand that you've been exposed to a wonderful education and use that to benefit the folks around you. That's one thing I would leave you with. And it's something that clicked in my mind as a platoon commander coming out of a place like Wellesley High School and getting to go to college. I didn't realize that some of my Marines weren't as fortunate to receive the education I did, but using that to learn from them and then share my experiences was a really powerful thing. 2, I would say if you are a natural leader, let's say you're a sports captain, or you are part of a business club, or you run some type of society here, perhaps you should consider public service or the military, because you might be a shoo-in. It's a really good opportunity to lead people at a young age. If you're stimulated by challenge, let's say you really enjoy studying and you crush the SAT or ACT, and you kind of like that feeling afterwards where, you know, you love the feeling of exhaustion in a sense, but you like the reward after. A long practice, a long run. That's one thing you will be guaranteed in the military. There's a feeling of consistent challenge, and you're always going to have a purpose. It's not something you're going to have to worry about in your job. So that's another thing I'd leave you to consider in the military is I never had to feel like there wasn't a challenge, and I never had to feel like there wasn't an opportunity for me to be humbled, broken down, and then build myself back up. So you grow up quite fast. And to the veterans here in the audience, and anyone who served, I thank them, and I think they have the deepest understanding of what it means to put yourself on the line, especially when the United States faces crisis and competition. As we saw when you served, the United States was, in a very difficult spot with the geopolitical tensions, and right now we're looking at that once again. Just about 6 months ago, I was standing on the side of a ship watching the sunset with a couple of my fellow Marines. We were enjoying a cigar after a long day of training on the ship, actually, but in the distance you could see some flickering lights. And it turns out, in fact, those were Chinese battleships as we traversed the South China Sea. They were chasing us around. Some of those things clicked in my mind that, the adversary, a peer threat, competition, it's a lot closer than we think. And especially as we grow up in such a wonderful place like here in New England, we tend to sometimes forget that the world is very competitive. And I'll leave you with, the United States, I don't really think is in the position to run from the competition or to run from our threats. And I think it's important that if we want to maintain the good life we have, end up with a retirement account, a strong U.S. passport, and a good economy, it's probably pretty important that we keep a strong base in our public service. And so I'll say the folks like you who are exposed to a great education and who are well-rounded and motivated, would be a tremendous asset in the future to serve the United States in some form of civic capacity. So I'll leave you with that. Again, I'll be around for any questions, and I'll also be the ROTC instructor with Boston University and MIT. So thank you again. It's an honor and a privilege to be here, and thanks for the invitation.
Quite an impressive young man. Are there any seniors in the house? Seniors? If you were at this ceremony 3 years ago, you would have had the great opportunity to listen to our next speaker, Major Kara Mazzetti Salmon. She served in the Army since 1997. I almost said 77 again. Her duty assignments include Seoul, Korea, Mannheim, Germany, 2 tours in Iraq. She was on the ground for the invasion of Iraq. Following her deployment, she was stationed at the Pentagon, and currently Major Salmon is the Assistant Professor of Military Science at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, Major Kara Mazzetti Salmon.
I know a lot of your beautiful faces in this audience, and you're going to see me a lot more because I will be all over this place next year when my daughter braces the grounds of Newton North, as I once did a couple years ago. Listen, I'm super proud of all of the ones who have stood up and said, yes, pick me, I want to serve. This is a big, big deal. It's not if you're going to deploy, it's when and it's where. We're in a climate right now where you need to understand that there are a lot of things going on in this world that you can impact change on. I know a lot of you have different ideas about the military and different ideas about service, and I respect that. My idea about service was given to me from my parents, I do not come from a military family. My parents, I'm a first-generation American, my parents are immigrants. They always told me the first thing that I needed to understand about being an American citizen is that you are so damn privileged. You were given the privilege to be an American citizen and have all this opportunity. They left their country because they didn't have that opportunity. They didn't have all this, just this beautiful amount of resources and education and people there to support you and people who are very proud to represent the colors of our flag. So that's something that I really embodied as a young lady when I was coming up. If you're falling asleep or if you're on your phone, I'm going to call you right out. I have no shame in my game, ladies and gentlemen, so wake up. Here we go. All right, we're in for a little ride. Listen, it's respect, it's duty, it's honor, it's country. Respect starts right here, right now, while you guys are here. You're in this auditorium, okay? Your country and your position in your society is beautiful. Do it. If it's joining the military, awesome. Beat Navy, go Army. I'm not, but I'm just saying, like, no, it's, I'm very proud of each branch of service, and I'm honored to be an instructor for a bunch of branches of service and having commissioned a ton of young officers recently, every branch of service. It's just like poking the bear, you gotta poke your brother, poke your sister and brother in arms. Even if it's an auxiliary firefighter, if it's a police officer, if it's a way to contribute in your community, if you're volunteering to do something that helps people and sets yourself up for a society that you want to live in later, you want to come back and say, I'm proud that I've contributed. I'm not asking you to be braggy about it. I'm not asking you to be some over-the-top kind of, I did this, look at me. I'm saying be humble, stand up, and do something that makes you proud to have contributed to your area, okay? I don't care if it's your country, your neighborhood, do something awesome. You guys have so many opportunities to be awesome, to get out and be leaders. You have it in you, you've been given the resources, And I challenge each of you to find something that makes you proud to contribute in this nation, in this community, in this school. That's what I have for you. If you have any questions for me, I am always available. I live around the corner. Listen, you're going to see me all over the damn place. But I'm very proud of all of you, especially the ones who are going into the military. My heart is just beating like, I'm just fired up. I can't wait. I'm going to track your careers. I'm going to see you do great things. And I'm going to see you become great leaders. And you need to embody that and embrace that and recognize that what you're doing as young future leaders is you're setting the example and you're setting the tone for the next generation and for your kids, which are so like far from your mind at this time, but that's what you're doing. You're setting the base. This is my expectation. This is how I go about my life. I uphold standards in leadership, in duty, in honor, in country. And I hope that you can all find something to do that with in your own respect and get off your phones. All right? All right. Go on, DJ.
Thank you. Teachers, what time does this clock end? What time does this clock end? Okay, we got about 8 minutes for Q&A. And you've heard some pretty dynamic speakers here this afternoon. So if any of you have any questions regarding anything that they've said or something that's on your mind relative to the military, Senior Vice Commander will bring a microphone to you, hands up, and rattle them off. Anybody?
There's got to be something in your mind.
If you don't ask us questions, I'll ask you questions.
So you might want to rethink your strategy.
Any questions, anybody?
All right, Kara, you ask a question.
Okay. Give me a junior. About to be voluntold. Raise your hand if you're a junior. Tell me something that you do in your life that demonstrates leadership. Stand up. Stand up, be proud. Stand up.
Probably just helping out other people whenever I can. Helping out people whenever I can, I'd say.
Awesome. How do you do that?
Like, if I see an older person who needs help, I usually approach them and ask them if they like help, whether it's bringing groceries in or bringing it out to their car, whatever.
Awesome. How do you spread that kind of energy? How do you make that happen? How do you share that vibe and say, you know what? Do you look at your buddies on the left and right and you say, you know, get up, do something? Is there any way that you share that form of leadership?
I always just usually tell people to do the right thing, you know, because I was raised by my grandparents. They taught me very well to respect people, always do the right thing. So I try my best just to let everybody know and spread the word, basically.
Awesome. Good for you. Good man. Sophomores? I'll find you. Are there any sophomores in here? Good for you. You got scared, right? You thought maybe she's going to find out. She's going to pull a roster. Go ahead.
Poor guy got ambushed.
Sacrificial lamb. Tell me something that you do that just benefits your community, benefits your world, and something that is of value to you that you're proud of.
So I'm on a swim team on a club, and after each practice, there's a group younger than us, about like 5 to 7 years old, and they're always really scared to get in the pool. So every time they're scared, I usually just approach them and lead them through the steps to get into the pool after we practice. And yeah, that's what I do in my local community.
That makes a big difference. Didn't you just hear our young lieutenant say when the older seniors and all of that were helping the juniors and sophomores and freshmen, it makes an impact. So keep on driving on with that. That's fantastic. And then see how you can take that and spread it. And use that as your foundation to spread that kind of energy throughout your team and throughout other things that you do.
Thank you. Two more things I would just want to share with you. This Sunday, Newton is holding its annual Memorial Day Parade. If you've never been, I encourage you to get down there and get a look at it. We step off here from the high school at 3 p.m. We go down Walnut all the way to Watertown. We're going to go east on Watertown right to Nonantum, and that's where the parade will end. A lot of floats, a lot of fun, a lot of balloons, inflatable obstacles at the corner of Walnut and Watertown. And in conclusion, I would just like to leave you all with this. For better or for worse, we're judged by 4 different things. How we look, what we say, how we say it, and what we do. How we look, what we say, how we say it, and what we do. And I contend that what we do trumps everything. You don't have to be the greatest dresser, you don't have to be an articulate orator, but what you do when the rubber hits the road, whether it's in time of crisis or in your daily activities, blessing someone younger than you or someone older than you, speaks volumes about who you are. And we all have one shot at this thing called life, and it's fleeting. Now, I stand here before you, a graduate of this school from 1969, and I swear it seems like yesterday. But it was over 50 years ago. So I encourage you to follow the lead of these great leaders in front of you, these men and women who have blazed the trail of service, commitment, and honor, and follow their lead in whatever community, city, state, or region you find yourself in. Be that leader. Be that individual that people look at and say, there goes a guy or gal with character. Thank you all for attending today. Please take some time this weekend to remember those who've never made it home. And if you have a moment, stop by the cafeteria and look at all those names that we have out in front of the cafeteria of Newton residents who never made it back. Thank you all very much, and God bless America.
People who know the major, report to the major. He's right up front. And the associates of the major, front and center. Tell 250 of your closest friends about the events as